You're at 109 right now.
Breaking news, update. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time I broadcast my podcast, I was discussing Bruce's Beach, and um, I was sour about the fact that the property in Manhattan Beach would be, well, not returning to the family, but it was going to be, I guess, instead of returning to the family, subverted or um, what is it? Usurped their power and their interests. I thought the family's power and interests were going to be usurped, and the property was going to return to the county of Los Angeles. But this new update states that dun, 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 that the Bruce's family has decided. The Bruce family has decided to sell the property to the county of Los Angeles. So, all right, there you have it. So there's no nefarious actions undermining taking place by the government, by the U.S. government. There's no boogeyman in the government. This is certainly a decision that is beneficial to the Bruce family. And let's see. So the actions that California has taken to return the property to the Bruce family, that was the initial action. That was beneficial, and that was noble, and you know, yeah, that was absolutely an excellent move on California's part, and it's a very progressive thing to do. I mean, those are reparations, and so now that the Bruce's family has decided what to do with the land, which is to sell it to the county of Los Angeles, that too is their decision, their discretion, and their prerogative. So by all means, let them do it. Um, the amount that the value of the land is $20 million, or rather, the amount that the Bruce family received is $20 million. Of course, we could argue, what the land um, would have been worth to the Bruce's family had it not been taken through eminent domain 100 years ago. But on the surface, if we just look at the circumstances as they are, and we deal with them as they are, it's not a bad thing. It's not bad at all. I mean, it would be worse if the Bruce family was never considered and ownership just transferred from whomever it was. I believe it was let's see, is it the fire department that is located at the foot of the property near the water? I've been there several times, and I think it's the fire department. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the DWP, but there's some entity, some government, um, or some department. Something is there, and they were renting. They were leasing their that piece of the land from whomever was to own that property. And yeah, before it was, I guess, the city of Manhattan Beach, California, city of Los Angeles, and then it became the Bruce family, and then now it's going to the county of Los Angeles. Here's the thing, though. It's probably the best thing. It's probably the smartest thing. I think that some people will undermine this decision of the Bruce family, and they will think, well, it's not a lot of money for one, for the damage that was done 100 years ago to their family and to their generations. And the other thing is that, uh, let's see, yeah, it's not a lot of money. Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. There's not a lot. It's not a lot of money. That's probably what people are gonna say. And in fact, there are people in the comments. This news that you're hearing, I'm reporting it, but I'm learning about this through KBLA, 1580. Tavis Smiley's talk radio show, unapologetically progressive, the only black owned talk radio AM station west of the Mississippi. And anyway, let me read it. Let's read it. It says, breaking news. Hahn. All right. This is referring to Supervisor Hahn. Okay. Supervisor Hahn releases statement on Bruce family's decision to sell Bruce's Beach. Los Angeles, California. The chair of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, Janice Hahn, has released the following statement regarding the Bruce family's decision to sell the Bruce's Beach property back to the County of Los Angeles for nearly $20 million. Whoa, nearly. The estimated value of the property. This decision comes nearly 6 months after Supervisor Hahn successfully fought to return Bruce's Beach to the Bruce family, and nearly a century after the property was taken from Willa and Charles Bruce by the city of Manhattan Beach. Okay, so here it goes. This is the statement. The Bruce family has informed the County of Los Angeles that they have decided to sell the Bruce's Beach property back to the county. The seizure of Bruce's Beach nearly a century ago was an injustice inflicted upon not just Willa and Charles Bruce, but generations of their descendants who almost certainly would have been millionaires. I fought to return Bruce's Beach because I wanted to right this wrong. This fight has always been about what is best for the Bruce family, and they feel what is best for them is selling this property back to the county for nearly $20 million and finally rebuilding the generational wealth they were denied for nearly a century. This is what reparations look like. And it is a model that I hope government across the country will follow. All right. So nearly $20 million going back to the family, and they've made the decision to sell it. Now here's the thing. The fact that the Bruce family is going to take the money is tremendous, because you take that money and then they're able to invest that $20 million. I mean, that's the financial principle that I learned when I was studying finance at Cal Poly Pomona. They said, look, if you had a choice between getting, $5,000 a week for the rest of your life or $1 million or $2 million up front today, which would you choose? Well, the financial principle stated that it's better to have cash today, because then you could invest that money and that money could grow into the future. Whereas if you were to receive that $5,000 per week, for example, well, you definitely wouldn't have the opportunity for it to grow, for it to earn as much interest as a lump sum, a larger lump sum. It's time value of money, and yes, if you have an investment vehicle that will help you grow your money, then by all means, take the lump sum, invest, and don't look back. Now, if you don't have any investment vehicles, or you're unaware of those investment vehicles that can grow your wealth, maybe it is better to take the $5,000 over the course of the rest of your life. Perhaps. I guess it boils down to a philosophical question, but from a financial perspective and a mathematical perspective, assuming, the descendants of the Bruce family, of the Bruces, live 20, 30, maybe even 40 more years, at least, God willing, perhaps, perhaps it's better to take, those millions and invest them. $20 million, or almost nearly $20 million, is a lot of money, and yeah, they could absolutely benefit themselves. So anyway, that's what's going on. Let's see. Here are some of the comments. All right. One person says, "Why not lease it back for say 30 years? Let the family have possession for a generation. Obviously, since they agreed to the purchase, LA County thinks it's worth more." Okay. So first, let's tackle. They said, lease it back for say 30 years. All right. So if they lease it back, rather than accept the nearly $20 million today, and they lease it back, then we're back in that same at that same point that I stated when I was in school. They said take the money, whereas leasing the property. Let's say if you lease the property and earn uh, $200,000 a year for, I mean, that's just me. That's just my guess. Then let's see, how long would that take? 200,000 times five. That would be, so over after 5 years, that would be 1 million. All right. So five times six. So that would probably only bring in 6 million, right? Over 30 years. If that property were to bring in $200,000, probably earn them more. All right. So in that case, they're not going to earn as much as the 20 million up front. So why lease it? If you can't get $1 million per year for the property for leasing it, then why would they lease it? That doesn't make any sense, right? It would have to be justified. The money has to make sense. If it doesn't make dollars, then it doesn't make sense. But of course, I have no idea how much that property, will garner or could be leased for. I mean, about $1 million a year? That's wild. And then look at that. So they would have to accept $1 million for 30 years in order to do better than the present value of $20 million. So it makes sense. Take the 20 million today, invest it, and in 30 years, you could have several hundreds of millions of dollars, right? What else? This person also says, let the family have possession for a generation. Right. Having possession, well, so what are they going to do? If they don't have money today and they take possession, they don't have cash or they have very little cash, they're not going to develop that land, are they? Put a home or a few homes on there only to sell it later? Potentially, they could make a profit on the sale, but they'd have to invest, put that money in. So before they sold it. And then, if they were to build something on that property, who's to say that the property value won't actually diminish? Like, that's just a whole park area. It's empty. There's nothing really there except for that Department of Water or Fire Department or whatever it is at the foot of the hill. And I mean, that could be a risk if they were to develop it and then even follow uh, their ancestors' decisions. Willa and Charles, if they were to build a home or a resort, a black-owned black resort, you know, um, who's to say that that wouldn't bring the property value down? Not saying because it's black. I'm just saying because it may not be the best use for that land. Who's to say that? Anyway, since they agreed to the purchase, LA County, and then after they've taken possession of the property. That my point here is what I'm thinking about, what I'm wrestling with is that the property, no matter what, has to produce a cash flow, and if there is no cash flow, especially right now, there's nothing. It's just a park. It's empty land. And the department at the foothill is paying, perhaps, paying as to lease part of that land. Um, yeah, just holding it, just owning it, isn't beneficial because it's not generating any income. And then there are taxes, property taxes you have to pay on land that isn't generating income. Essentially, the Bruces are making the best of a bad situation because who knows how much money they have as a family, but they're getting something. They're getting something as opposed to nothing. This person says, I feared this may happen. Happened in my family. Instant gratification dismissed the well-being of future generations. So she's saying instant gratification. You get all that money, and the well-being of future generations is shot. If the Bruces see this kind of comment undermines the intelligence and the wherewithal of the Bruce descendants. There could be some very shrewd, very, um, you know, intelligent descendants. These folks could be really, really good with their money, and they could potentially make some decisions today that would make their future generations, you know, vastly wealthy. And who knows? So this idea that instant gratification dismiss the well-being of future generations. I mean, come on, well, give them some credit. You know, they could have owned and leased it. That's what they said. They could have owned and leased it. Well, the only entity interested in leasing that property was the department at the foothill, and maybe the income earned was not greater than the property tax owed. So it was probably a poor deal from the beginning. I'm only thinking hypothetically because I don't have the documents. I don't know. But think about that. All right, next. I thought they were going to lease it back to the county for an annual fee. Again, who's to say what that annual fee was? And if the annual fee is not great enough to sustain or to help the family members today and to, um, yeah, generate enough income to pay for the property taxes, then it's not a good proposal. Like, get that out of here. All right, so here we have a long comment from one Travis Lacey Day. Why did the Bruce family and Han and several lawyers fight so hard to get the property back, only to sell it back to the county of Los Angeles in a few months? Well, okay, I'm going to stop there. He has more to say. Why? To set a precedent, to demonstrate that this is what needs to be done for future generations. You need to take care of the people who were wronged in the past. It's righting a wrong. That's what it is. Supervisor Janice Hahn stated that. So that's why they fought for it. And having done so, they just didn't sweep this whole story under the rug. No, they got the family something as opposed to nothing. Had it been swept under the rug and just, kept it pushing, that would have been really, really awful. All right, so let's continue. He says, clearly the family did not have a plan for what they would do with the property. Come on, man. You got to give the family credit. Maybe their plan was to acquire and then sell it. But maybe the plan was just to get some money, man. I don't know. I think they're doing well. They should have thought it through. Who said they didn't think it through? $20 million today is not very much money in terms of what they could have gotten for the land. The land could have been leased to the county in perpetuity or at least another 100 years, and the family could have leveraged the land value with banks to invest in other properties in LA, in other states, in other parts of the world. That way, to family could build generational wealth. I don't understand what just happened. I fear the Bruce family does not have a plan for the $20 million as well. This money will probably last a generation with no plan in place. That's sad. I wish the Bruce family well, and they are extremely prosperous in the future. Okay, now he makes a great point. He makes a great point. The land could have been leased in the county to the county in perpetuity, and the family could have leveraged that land value. That's leveraging. Oh yeah, you leverage. You go to the banks. You have all of that land. Yes, then you could get loans. You could get loans to do the to do the investing. I just said loan. I don't like that idea at all. That whole idea of leverage. Let's slow down on leverage, and I'll give you an example. In-N-Out Burgers. In-N-Out Burgers makes decent burgers. In fact, after you tried an In-N-Out burger, especially out of towners who try, friends of mine who tried In-N-Out burgers, they weren't impressed. After you try an In-N-Out burger, you may not be impressed. However, In-N-Out burger is very appealing because the burgers are pretty cheap. The quality of the meat, the quality of the way the food is prepared is with love, and the customer service is top notch. So to speak. The employees are very bubbly and energetic and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. Excuse me. In-N-Out hasn't borrowed money. In-N-Out has grown on its own. One of the reasons why In-N-Out is a West Coast restaurant is because they haven't borrowed money so that they can expand and grow across the nation. It takes principle. It takes principle. It takes diligence, to maintain, to stay the course. Because there's a lot to say, hey, you could expand, you could grow, you could serve your burgers all across America and even into, the international market if you were to just borrow some money and reinvest it into your business. Sounds like a great idea, and it sounds like the right thing to do. However, there's a lot of competition out there, and it can be very risky to do just that. And so, although In-N-Out, or rather, In-N-Out hasn't grown very quickly, or rather, In-N-Out grows at its own pace because of the fact that In-N-Out does not take on debt. That's a powerful decision. That's a powerful stance. In-N-Out could be bigger, could be stronger, and all that, but In-N-Out is principled, and In-N-Out has, well, I guess In-N-Out is just principled and just has, you know, has assets, and they're not over, you know, what is it? What is the phrase? What's the idiom? Not wearing themselves thin, spreading. They're not spreading themselves thin, and that's perhaps why they're, where they are. So my counter to what Mr. Travis Lacey Day says is, they shouldn't spread themselves too thin. Take that $20 million today. You can create generational wealth with a lump sum if it's invested. Yes, it may not be a lot of money, but I mean, your idea of a lot of money may be something, I don't know what it is. Here, okay, let me give you an idea. What $20 million is a lot of money. I'll tell you why, right? Well, 60,000, no, $80,000. $80,000 annually. As it was reported in 2016, $80,000 is like right at the poverty line in um, Orange County. And although although it may not seem like a lot of money, if you could earn $80,000 a year in interest, and if you are employed and you're earning $80,000 of interest, annually, well, you can certainly grow your wealth. And I say that to say that if you had $8 million in the bank, you could earn, you know, $80,000, per year. There are investments out there that are very not very risky that will pay you the equivalent of, $80,000 for $8 million, right? You can do that. So if they get 20 million, they can earn 160 plus. Let's say they can earn $200,000 a year. Of course, they'd have to divide it among the descendants. I don't know how many there are. But if you have your money invested, earning high interest rates, and then if they're working, if they do have jobs and they continue to work, then that interest will put them way ahead, you know. Heck, they could even just live off of the interest. So that's where I am with it. It was a good decision. It is a good decision. They might as well just keep rocking and rolling. They say if you win the lottery, they say don't quit your day job. Keep it. Because most lottery winners who quit their jobs and live off of their money, well, they're the ones who go broke. But it's those who keep their jobs who are able to grow their wealth. So I would say to the Bruce family, keep your jobs, get that money, live off of the interest, don't touch the principal, live off of the interest, keep your job, live happily ever after. Oh, live happily ever after and create a trust for your children. You create that trust, that's generational wealth right there. That is generation. That's how you protect your generational wealth right there. And that seed is going to grow in perpetuity. So no matter how you slice it, whether they kept it, whether they kept the property and leased it and leveraged, screw the leveraging part. Because In-N-Out Burger says we're going to grow on our own without, leverage. And that's a powerful position to be in. So many businesses started off with that same concept. JCPenney was like that. JCPenney said no to credit cards. Don't offer store credit. Don't offer credit. The people buy what they can afford at that time. That's it. You know, take the money, do the thing. Salute to the Bruce family. Salute to the state of California. I feel much better about the decision and what has transpired at Bruce's Beach. As a matter of fact, I might drive on over to Bruce's Beach, pop a bottle, and just kick it. Nah. All right, y'all. This is Larry rambling. Peace and blessings.
You're at 109 right now.